And there you go.
All righty. Thank you, John. All righty. Everyone, welcome to the Olympic District January Roundtable, where we're going to talk about outdoor activities, outdoor winter activities. Like John said, please put your name and your unit in the chat so we know and we can take attendance. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat during the roundtable. We're gonna start the roundtable as normal with the with the opening.
Those in uniform, please salute. Those who are not, put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
All right, and we are going to start with some announcements. Remember, January, this coming up weekend, we're doing Klondike. March 16th is a special needs training. Also April 16th, we're gonna do IOLS, and May 10th we're gonna do blue training, and then also there is May 17th and May 25th is the Wood Badge 2024 week 1 and week 2. As we're going to talk about winter outings, and so today I'm going to bring up the hot topic of activity planning and risk assessment. So as Baden Powell did once said, be prepared, right? So you want to be prepared in what you're planning in your outdoor activities. So make sure that you plan. You have a program hazard analysis, and also, but when you're doing your activity, make sure that you do a safe pause, which is, before you're doing your event, you stop, you think about safety, and you think that everything, and make sure that this event that you are doing is safe. Also, make sure that you're following the safe checklists, which then goes into my next topic, which what we're going to talk about is our safety moment, right? So in our safety moment, right, for winter activities, we want to make sure that we are following the guidelines, right? Have qualified supervision. That means have somebody that there is a subject matter expert on the activity that you're doing. So if you're going ice fishing, have somebody that knows how to prepare that. If you're having camping, don't send your brand new den leader out there to be in charge of the camping. Make sure that they're blue or IOLS qualified, right? Equipment, make sure that you have the appropriate equipment. Operate personal protective equipment. It is required in all activities, right? Physical fitness. Make sure that the scouts are physically fit. You got to remember in winter activities, that it is going to be harder to breathe. So some scouts with breathing issues or heart issues, you're going to have to take those into consideration. Also, buddy system. Make sure you always have buddy system, right? Scouting, we do buddy. Just like we just talked about planning. Make sure we plan, right? Plan ahead of time. With planning, make sure you're using the COLD acronym, right? Clean. Make sure that you're clean, that everything you wear is clean, and that you're dry, right? Overheating. Stop from wearing a whole bunch of clothes. Layer, right? Loose layers. Layer loosely, and then dry. Make sure you're dry and you're not putting wet clothes on top of wet clothes, right? Also, safe area. Make sure if you're doing like sledding, you're not sledding over a whole bunch of bumps or activities like that. Make sure that safety's first. Make sure you're using the right, the kids are using the right tools for their age group. Weather check. Always check the weather, before the event, a month before the event. Burning, right? Don't have your heaters inside the tent, right? And then discipline, rules. Rules are effective. Always follow the guide to safe scouting, right? Okay. And so now our main topic for tonight is membership moment. So with memberships, we're right now, we're looking right with the way to get scouts and the way to approve scouts is to have the best leaders you possibly can, right? So we want to be we want to have trained leaders, because trained leaders makes a fun program, and a fun program is how we entice scouts. And so right now, we're recruiting for the roundtable committee. And so if you are interested in joining the roundtable or doing roundtables or have ideas of roundtables, so we can get it ready for you, get ideas to make better meetings for you guys, or give ideas to give you guys to have better meetings or helpful ideas for meetings, please let us know in the chat. And so now we're going to get into our activity for our activity for tonight, which is winter activities. So we're going to start with Cub Scouts, right? So with Cub Scouts, we want to make our activities age appropriate activities, right? So we can do snowshoe making, but with Cub Scouts, you got to make it age appropriate, right? So you could do lions and tigers, they could make snowshoes, right? And then they could do tests, but with wolves and bears, you could probably do a little bit more of maybe a half mile snowshoe hike or trek. And with bears and weeblos, you can do a little bit long. I mean, with weeblos, you can definitely do a little bit longer, maybe a mile. Also, you can do sledding, you can do shelter building, you can do skiing, you can do ice skating, you can do ice fishing. Obviously, you got to do safe activities. There's also Camp Shepherd in Enumclaw. They do a whole camp in January and February for winter camping. Do any of you guys have any ideas of what you guys do for Cub Scouts during the winter?
We did a day at we went to Miller Sylvania State Park, and we had planned an overnight for the pack, but it was absolutely dumping rain. So we showed up a little bit early, and we basically just spent the day hanging out outside, and we did Dutch oven cooking inside the big group shelter there, and it was a lot of fun. Kids went on a nature hike, and we also had the park ranger come by and discuss his roles which was really, really interesting for him to discuss the different types of park rangers and the different levels and who carries a gun and who doesn't and what his duties were. I mean, he actually lived on site there, which was kind of cool to talk about that. It was a great day. We just left when it got dark after we'd all had our Dutch oven meal and had a good day.
And that is a good idea, because that's what I was gonna move into next is what happens if you're camping and it starts raining or it starts snowing and the kids start getting cold. What ideas you could do? You could do science experiments where you fill water balloons up with water and then put food coloring in, and as it freezes they get to open it up and they have a cool tie-dye ice cube. Or you could make those illuminating lights where you put a candle in the ice and it melts, and then you have a cool lantern you could use. Does anybody have any other ideas like that they have for what happens if it's just too cold? Maybe the lions and tigers and wolves, you can't get them out there, you can't get them motivated because it's just too cold for them to do. Other ideas that they might be interested in, because everybody likes to sled, but after you sled for about an hour and they get cold, what ideas do you think you could add to those activities? And so like one of the ideas we had this summer is for digging in the past with the wolves, we put a bunch of dinosaurs or bones in the in water balloons, and we also took dirt and we froze the dirt. And so when they went out to dig for their dinosaur bones, they got to break up the ice and actually look like they're finding something out of a glacier, which was a cool idea. A lot of kids they thought it was fun, because what Cub Scouts do you know that doesn't like to smash things, but you also have to be safe, right? You got to wear eye pro, and you got to make sure that the kids are wearing gloves and you're in a safe environment, right? Does anybody else have any more ideas about Cub Scout winter activities? Skiing is a good one, but like with most activities, you got to make sure it's age appropriate. You're not going to take a lion and tiger pack on a 2 mile skiing trek, because you're gonna lose them, all right? Just like ice fishing, you want to go ice fishing with them. You're going to make sure that there's a warm environment. You have a heater. You have and you're following the guide to safe scouting with the heaters, and they're not the ones cutting the hole in the ice. You have an adult supervision doing that, and items like that. But if anybody else doesn't have any more ideas about Cub Scouting, we'll move on to the troop level. Does anybody else have any other suggestions for Cub Scouts? Okay, well, Scouts BSA activities are troop level activities. Obviously, you got Northern Tier up in Minnesota, right? That you can go up and do a cool trek up there and do stuff on the water and different outdoor activities. And you can do dog sledding. You have winter camping, where you can learn how to make ice caves. You can make igloos. You can camp, and you can camp in you can camp in those shelters. You can do snowshoe backpacking in the backcountry, with ice caves and all that. You can do one of the big merit badges, wilderness survival, right? And you can do just an event about wilderness survival. Obviously, you have Klondike. So that's our big thing coming up in next week is Klondike, and we will do a Klondike camporee where they go out, they do camping, and then they do their different, you know, you have your different stations of cast iron cooking, survival, shelter making, and all those things. The other thing, the other ideas besides those you got to think of is games that they can play, like ice hockey, skiing, cross country skiing is another item. Uh, what other activities do you guys do for when you take if you when you take your troops out in the winter time? What activities do you that you guys have them do? Okay. Well, then let's break it more down into like wilderness survival. What can you do in wilderness survival, right? You can learn about um water purification during the winter time, how to get water through ice, how to get water when there's no water available during the winter time and during activities where, you know, the lakes are frozen or the rivers are too high to get down or it's a safety risk. Um, you can, yeah, like we already talked about the different types of shelters, ice caves, um, igloos and canaverats and different shelters like that. You also teach them about how to build a fire when it's pouring rain and that, you know, the flint and steel just isn't working. Different, you know, different ideas like that. You can also take them out and it's gonna when you're on a snowshoe trek, it's gonna be you're gonna have to divide your gear up a lot more because of the weight you're gonna have to carry. It's a lot harder to walk in snowshoes than it is to walk in, you know, to do a regular hike in the winter. And so also you're gonna have to think about the different breathing levels and the pace that you can go and the distance. Um, and so that's a lot of things you got to think about when you're doing your outdoor activities. You know, because they're going to be cold, they're going to be wearing more gear, right? So as the day goes on, it's going to get they're going to get warmer. So you're going to have to stop and layer back on. But then as it goes on, if it gets colder during the day or the weather turns, you're going to have to stop and let them layer back up the different ideas. You're also going to have to know the scouts are going to have to know the different types of camp stoves that they can use if they're how far they're going into the winter, and also some of those have freezing elements. So if you don't want the different gas elements to freeze on you. Does anybody else have any suggestions on different activities or different safety that when you're doing on going on troop activities?
Well, one of the things that I did a long time ago when I was with a troop up in Edmonds was we went up to Stevens Pass and we just, you know, had a couple of the parents drop us off at a trailhead and we just hiked in like a couple of miles and we just until we found a big open area and we just dropped down there and made camp and we did a bunch of snow caves and that was really cool. And it was a good experience because it allowed the youth the opportunity to kind of figure out how to build the cave and how to keep their snow caves warm without causing like the the snow to melt to where you would have a potential flooding issue and things like that. And they had to learn about different things like getting in and out of the cave and how to properly ventilate it so they would breathe appropriately and everything. And we had done some training that the Chief Seattle does about this time of year where they do like some classes where they teach the youth and the adults how to properly camp in the snow and how to do like the snow caving and all that. And that was really cool because it's a different experience when you're not in a tent when you're in a big chunk of ice. And so there's different things, different considerations and stuff. And yeah, we were talking about Camp Shepherd earlier. Camp Shepherd's really cool because Camp Shepherd's like up in the mountains, so they get like real snow up there.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool place to go, and I recommend it if you get a chance to go up there in the winter time. I can't speak for the summertime because I haven't been out there in the summer, but in the winter it was pretty cool.
And Mary just posted that their troop goes up and does snow caves up in White Pass during the winter time. So that's that's I know some of the units that are down in the southern locations. We go out to White Pass and do skiing and sledding out there and do activities out there. So there's opportunities to do snow caves out there too. That'd be I remember doing those as a kid, like you're talking about, John, going out to but we did it more down towards the Eight Caves and Castle Rock area. Um, those are those are some great ideas, but so we'll move on to the next slide, which is Venture Explorers, which they kind of opens up a little bit as the scouts get older. You open up a little bit more activities. You still got to make sure you're following the guide to safe scouting, but they can get into in the wintertime trapping, hunting, obviously they can do winter survival camping, glacier trekking, wilderness obviously wilderness first aid, snow and avalanche safety training. Up in northern tier you can do dog sledding, but you can do there's we looked it up today. There's dog sledding in our area, up by Blaine and out in some of those areas. And I think there was one up past Seattle, up by Bellingham, but I bet you there's some dog sledding areas you can do out by Enumclaw, out where they do the Rainier District Klondike. And also that's the one thing that the ventures can do. They can do hunting, which is hunting season is always open during during winter season. And also we looked into trapping, and with trapping you also got to follow the state guidelines and different one, but but Fish and Game, they give trapping classes to youth, and they also give the hunter readiness courses. And so you can take those through your unit can request those through Fish and Game. Also with Explorers, you can learn if you're whatever program you're attached to. If you're attached to a search and rescue team, you can work on mountain rescues and wilderness rescues. And John, you probably know more about those ideas than I do, given your job. Do you have any ideas of what else that they could do as explorers in the wintertime?
Well, like you kind of talked about like trapping and hunting and stuff, and the wilderness first aid and everything. And I mean, and maybe you just go out and do some more challenging, I should say, like snowshoeing kind of hiking. Snowshoes are relatively relatively inexpensive to rent, given the compared to the cost of actually buying them for like a period of time. So it's a good it's something you could do, and it's a good like tier one or tier two activity if you can get together a couple of crews to get together and go out and do some um some hiking and maybe some trapping and things like that. And you could talk about like the camping and stuff as well. So and we have areas where we get where we have this time of year we have a lot of snow in the wintertime, in Capitol Forest, like in and around like around Capitol Peak. It's pretty high elevation in Thurston County. It's the highest point in Thurston County, and this time of year from like late November, early December until like March, it's got snow on it most of the time. So like right now, I'm sure it's got quite a bit of snow on it. And
Yeah,
that's pretty close to most folks in the district.
Yep, and I just talked to actually Olympic National Forest, and they do snowshoe treks across Hurricane Ridge from almost from Squim to all the way over to Quailic Beach, which is all the way across the all the way across by the ocean. So
Oh yeah.
though those are some,
Hurricane Ridge is a pretty cool area to be. In case you guys have never been up there, it's a little bit of a drive for us down here, but it's a really cool, pretty unique area because you stand on one side of the ridge and you're looking out towards hills and mountains, and you go to the other side of the ridge and you're just looking at the ocean, and it's really pretty unique.
yeah, there's all kinds of winter activities. I was Googling it earlier today, different places you could go and see all over the state, over by White Pass and um all those different like little tiny cities go out towards LB, and they have you can take your kids out and they can go get on the train and take the train, and it'll show them all the mountains uh and all the snow around the area, but the train's heated. So you know you're not getting cold, but you're still getting to see all the beautiful scenery around the area. And so that's a pretty cool idea that you can plan an event around also. Um but well, yeah, there's a lot of stuff, adventures and explore for adventure cruise and explore posts to go out and see and do in this area of the country. We'll move on to okay, Sea Scouts activities. This was kind of one of the ones that um I had to really work on to try and figure out ideas of what Sea Scouts can do in the wintertime. And it's really a lot, most of it is ship maintenance and communication training. Working with your radios, learning your radios, learning the different types of radios, because as I learned today, the Sea Scouts, they use maritime radios, and they don't use the ham radios that we would use on land. They have a completely different program. So that's something that the Sea Scouts could get more into in the wintertime. They should also ship maintenance, prepping your ship for your next trip, winterizing your ship, and winterizing your boat, because not all boats or ships you can have you can have you can have Sea Scout crew out on a lake. You don't have they're not all out in the ocean. They're not out in all of them out in Puget Sound. You can take them down. You can take a boat down the river. You can you can learn cold weather first aid. You can go whale watching. Route planning. Planning for your next trip. Watching. Looking at looking at maps. Studying maps. You can learn. You can do celestial navigation. Go around the Puget Sound looking at the stars without using your actual navigation system, trying to pinpoint where you are and find where you're going using celestial navigation, using the stars. So one other thing that I learned today talking to Greater Alaska is they do at one point in time they used to work with a unit down here in Chief Seattle, and they would do glacier tours from here up to Kodiak and then back down. And that'd be something cool to do. Obviously you'd have to have the time to do that trip, but that's another cool idea that you could put in your skipper's mind to or put in your put in the crew's mind to take out and do in the future. Does anybody else have any ideas of what we could do? What they think? What else they think Sea Scouts and different activities that Sea Scouts could do that I didn't cover? Yeah, because a lot of it goes on the guide to safe scouting, right? And planning, because planning is the big part, because you don't want to get out there on the boat when bad weather, right? You want to, and that's another thing you can do is you can do your plan. You can plan and do, oh, okay, what happens if we, test runs? Like what happens if we get a hurricane warning when we're out there, or what happens if the bad weather hits? What are we going to do? Plan, always planning, always being prepared. And so those are some really good things to do with your Sea Scouts and planning. That is the end of my slideshow. I am putting out in the links in the chat all the different links, and there's a whole bunch of different ideas that you guys can do with um with your scouts in in uh in the wintertime. There are so many activities that you can do with them. There are, like I said, it's all about age appropriate and the guide to safe scouting and the different uh the different events you want to do. Do you got what events do you guys do? Okay. If you guys aren't if we're not gonna get any ideas, I will pull up my shared screen again, and if you look at my screen, there's tons of ideas that I just pulled up from Scout Life magazine. How to gear up for winter. Riding along as these scouts go dog sledding in Wisconsin. Join Troop 214 on their big day of sledding in the mountains. How to use a sled to make a pulk for backpacking in the snow. So there's tons of information out there on Scout Life magazine and in the different groups on where to find and where to do winter activities. See, here's the one that I was talking about that you could do. This is a great idea that I think to do with Cub Scouts and with Scouts is they're making their own snowshoes, but then it gives your den leaders or your scoutmasters or your SPLs exactly what they need and how to make it, and then you can decide which activity or how long you think each scout can walk in these snowshoes. You don't even have to have snow to use these snowshoes. You can practice walking around. With our Cubs, we did it a little bit, and we had them walk around in snowshoes so they could see how it felt like with big feet, and they had a blast doing it, and all they were doing the whole time was laughing, because they were having fun and rolling around and having a good time. So do you guys have any questions about winter outdoor activities or even winter indoor activities? All right, well, if you guys don't have any more questions, or uh, we'll get ready to close the roundtable for the evening. And so in closing, I read a good thing about that Baden-Powell wrote, the real way to gain happiness is to give it to others. And that's basically what we're doing in scouting, right? We're giving it to to the scouts, but we're also giving it to the leaders and the community. And we're out there trying to, and the fun is what we're trying to, make it fun, make it, and that's exactly what winter activities will do, is you're making it fun, you're making a cool activity. And so that's, I really appreciate you guys coming to the round table. If you have any ideas, or if you have any ideas of what you guys suggest or what you guys would want in a round table, put it in the comments, and me and John will talk and see if and we'll get the round tables you guys want, so we can get the participation up in round tables, and we can get more fluid and more flow. I really appreciate you guys coming to the round table tonight, and I will see you guys next month. Thank you very much. Do you have anything else to put out, John?
Something to keep an eye out for. I'm gonna work with the office staff, and we're gonna send out an email to the district, because I want to get a good feel for seeing if we can get some more participation for roundtable. So I'm gonna see if I'm gonna put together a survey to send out to the district, and we're gonna see if we can figure out some ideas that might help increase attendance, whether it's a different meeting night, different time, something like that. So we're gonna continue to evaluate that, because I want to, really want to continue to grow roundtable and get more involvement across the district. So keep an eye out for that. And for those of you guys who don't know, unfortunately Christine's not here to talk about it tonight, but Christine has asked me to take over for her as district commissioner at the end of her term, and her term is going to end at the end of February. So, well, they pending the approval of the council executive board, they will have me she'll have me take over for her as district commissioner effective March 1. Assuming it gets approved by the board, but and everything. So you'll probably be seeing me around more. And you'll see me doing a little bit more than what I've been doing with Roundtable in the past, which is part of the reason why I've kind of hired on Mark Daniel and been allowing him to kind of run with Roundtable a little more. So I probably will have a little bit less active role in Roundtable going forward, but I'm still going to be here. I'm just going to have to. I want Mark Daniel to make it his own, and I'm just going to be here to support him and encourage him. So, and like Mark Daniel was saying, if you know of anybody who might be interested in joining our Roundtable commissioner staff, please let me know. I could drop my email in the chat here for you guys, so you can send it out to anybody if you need. So let me drop that in there real quick. I apologize for not being a little more chatty this evening for Roundtable. I've been traveling. I'm out of town right now, so I had to be a little more mobile this evening than I would like. So, but we're gonna evaluate some other ideas for Roundtable, increasing Roundtable membership and participation. So, if you guys have anything ideas, please feel free to email me below. And with that, I'll go ahead and turn it back over to you, Mark Daniel.
All right, yep. Like John said,
Hi,
yep.
I've got a question.
Yep.
Hi, do you guys know anything about getting signed up for Cub Scout resident camp?
Oops, sorry, sure, yeah. So they, I'm not sure. I'll have to check on the council website if registration is live yet.
So it is open and it's one
Uh-huh.
registration per unit. My
Yes.
challenge was last year when I got signed up, it was also one registration per unit. But then
Uh-huh.
how to get each individual scout signed up. I was told after the fact that I was to send links to all the families and they could individually sign up their own scouts.
Mhm.
But that wasn't evident as I like went through that process. Is it going to be changed? I know I talked with Carrie quite a bit, Carrie Standish last year at summer camp about this. I know she's no longer with scouting. So I was wondering who the new point of contact will be.
Well, I don't believe that a new camp director has, or excuse me, a new program director has been identified at this point. Just because we need to identify a new one since Carrie has stepped down. But as far as registration questions, that's a great one. You can always ask the office about. You know, if you call the Tacoma office, I should say. If you talk to Cindy or Tricia up there, they're really good at helping folks with registration for events. So
Okay,
they can help
thank you.
guide you through that process as well. So great question though. Thank you.
All righty.
Anybody else?
If anybody else doesn't have any questions, we'll end the roundtable for this evening, and I look forward to seeing you guys next month. Thank you for coming.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.